give her the credit since she's the one who thunk this up, said we should be starting as a baby pool. That's right, folks. For just $1 American, you too could choose the date and time of the baby's arrival. Price is Right contestants row bidding rules. Oh, I just love me some baby doings. Y'all come see Mr. Kelly with your guests on the Marshalls and Dr. Jennings' Bundle of Joy. We'll get word out to everybody once we get word she's given birth back on the mainland. Just don't you go picking December 21st at 8 a.m. That's my birthday, and I already gave Thomas my $1. Since it's Midwinter's Day, our own station manager, Zeke, has been up since 4 a.m., cooking up a storm with Miss Alice for today's breakfast. Nice to see the old tradition of the station manager cooking breakfast for the station staff on Midwinter is back. Y'all, that man has gone and outdone himself. For breakfast, Zeke has 3 choices. The Delta Sunrise Platter, which is 3 eggs, any style, served with fried catfish or Delta hot sausage patties. Comes with buttermilk biscuits and gravy or hot butter grits. Side of smothered hash browns or fried green tomatoes. The Mississippi Big Person Breakfast, which is a thick slice of country ham with red-eye gravy, 2 eggs however you want them, and a golden sweet potato pancake. You get cheese grits or fried potatoes and a homemade biscuit. Finally, Zeke, I'ma blame my dress size on you after this one. The Riverboat Special. It's chicken fried steak and black pepper cream gravy, 2 eggs on the sides, and a fluffy cornbread pancake. It comes with a side of collards with ham hock or crispy pork belly bacon. For any vegetarians, well, he just wrote down dealer's choice. We'll cross that bridge if and we come to it, but I'll make sure I got you covered too. I got you, fam. So, come hungry, leave happy, and maybe take a nap after. For lunch, oh, come on, who's gonna want to eat a lunch after a huge breakfast? For lunch, Miss Alice is putting out sandwich meat and fixins, hot dogs, tofu dogs, and a mini salad bar. Because for the main event, Midwinter Supper, well, you all were given your menu selections last week to choose from tonight, so you have until noon today to make sure you get what you want. Me, I'm doing the prime steak, scalloped taters, and a big old piece of cherry cobbler. Dinner starts at 1900. Also, I hear there is a special spooky storytelling Jack's Night session afterwards. For those who want to go, just see Mr. Kelly for the info. The exterior travel precautions are still in effect with the ice feet having been cited as recently as last week.
Oh, come on, Zeke! Bumbles! You know she reads whatever's on the copy.
Shush now, Tommy. This is serious business. All staff are reminded to walk in pairs, have strong hunting spotlights, what like my Uncle Mervis swore he never used to spotlight them deer. Bless his heart. Also, don't be going into the summer camp if you can avoid it. We still don't know why, but that's where they love to go. Couple more months and they'll go back into whatever hidey hole they live in. My goodness, we're only at the halfway point of the winter season, and we've already had so much happen. Our deputy marshal is now officially a U.S. Marshal. Firefighter Fred is now back to being chief of the fire crew. Gladys was awarded winner of Antarctica Has Talent for her banjo-picking version of Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. We ain't had no additional countries kicked out of the U.S. in months. And best news of all, Dr. Jennings is gonna be a mama. 2023 winter season is a tough card to get a bingo on. Don't even think a coverall is remotely possible this year. Let's all buckle ourselves in for the last half of the season. Well, that's it for me this morning, my polies. I hear the line for breakfast is already forming, so I'm heading down there.
Pancakes.
Y'all take care of one another out there. Happy midwinter to all my little ones, especially you little one on the way, baby Marlowe. Or Jennings? Anyway, Bass, darling, remind me to talk to you later today about venues. Thank you.
This is hell.
I hate this. I blame you. I blame you, Bass Marlowe. You did this to me.
Yeah, guilty as charged, but Doc Tim said the morning sickness will go away on its own at the end of the first trimester. That's 2 more weeks now.
No, not 2 weeks now.
I know you want it now, but mothers have been dealing with morning sickness.
Oh, stop. I know your thousands of years speech by heart now. You're not helping. This is awful.
Okay, it is awful, but I told you not to eat the spicy wings last night,
Baby
didn't I?
wanted wings.
No, baby did not want wings. You wanted wings, sweetheart. Remember what Cheryl Lynn said. Toast and dry cereal, bananas and Greek yogurt, the fairy godmother morning sickness remedy. Hey, by the way, what did Dr. Tim say about you going back and forth to your lab?
Kat said I'm still okay to walk to the dark sector for work and back. And it shouldn't be a concern until the middle of the 3rd trimester. And dear Lord help you, Bass Wyatt Marlowe, if you don't stop sending escorts to pick us up at the end of every workday. I don't need that.
Yeah, with the Bumbles, ice feet. Damn it, now I'm off track. I'm just doing that because I want to keep you and the baby safe, and you know that.
They've never been seen, almost never been seen on that side of the station. You need to stop being such a helicopter marshal.
Yeah, well, good luck with that one. Do you want to come to breakfast, or can I bring you something?
Baby wants the catfish.
Catfish. No more fried food for another 2 weeks, remember? I will have Miss Alice put together. I know that's what you want, but oatmeal with bananas and plain toast along with some orange juice will do your body good.
Ugh. Fine. Let me clean up real quick and I'll join you. Can't go another week without Fred leering at me and ask if my boobs are getting larger.
How you feeling about Jack's night? Do you think you're up for that?
No, definitely not. Okay. I can pretty much promise I will be in bed asleep by 9:30 tonight. But you should go.
No, nonsense. I can stay here and get caught up in paperwork and take it. Yep, I'll be more than happy to give them your regards when I get to Jack's night for story time.
Good. You will have a good time. And on your way back, you can stop by the galley. Baby is gonna want oatmeal cookies and bacon.
She picked up the ringing phone, ready for more harassment, but it was the police. Young lady, they said, we've traced the calls. Grab the children. You're babysitting and get out of the house.
The calls are coming from the basement.
Oh, man, y'all know about this story, too?
Come on, mon ami. Stories like that have been told to the petite ones since way back in time. Need to come up with something not made into a movie or a picture show.
Wasn't Carol Kane in the original movie? I think we saw that one night at URJ camp.
URJ? You're Jewish as well, Dr. Lorenz?
I am. Well, more secular than sacred now. Not really super religious any longer, but I'll dust off the old menorah at the end of each year to celebrate.
Well, now I never knew that. Jeepers. It would be nice to talk shop sometime with someone else who made it through those URJ summers.
Yeah, all right. Enough with the Hallmark crap already. Somebody's gonna start hugging it out and learning lessons. How's this thing supposed to work again, huh?
Oh, okay. We each tell the scariest story we can think of, see if we can entertain and spook one another. Then, after the person finishes their story, they pick the next storyteller. I guess that means I should pick. Deputy Marshal Marlowe. Ooh, I'm not used to that.
Me either. Thank you, Mr. Kelly. All right, how to top my story from last year? Actually, I'll tell the one I really wanted to tell the first time I was here, but I thought it would be too scary for Zeke. This is from the official reports and files submitted to law enforcement from downtown Chicago, Illinois, more accurately, below downtown Chicago. It was the spring of 1992. Local police had reported a sudden uptick in the disappearance of the inner-city homeless population. Now, back then, the census taken was less accurate, and given the nomadic nature of the issue, a sudden disappearance didn't always equate to foul play. The issue was also not at the forefront of the city's priorities, as you may have guessed. But it wasn't until the first few bodies were discovered that people started taking notice. There had been a large thunderstorm at the beginning of May and storm season. Bodies started to wash out of the drainage system. Homeless victims who had been savagely murdered, their bodies mutilated, or at least the body parts that were found in the drainage outlets.
Interesting.
It wasn't commonly known at the time, but there are extensive series of abandoned underground freight railways and portions of the current subway system that are closed off and not used. Unlike the underground pedestrian walkways, which are still in use today, the advent of the trucking industry and the elevated trains made the underground redundant. Many of these tunnels run parallel with the storm tunnels, some even directly intersecting with the old freight systems, only being officially used for the occasional and blooming high-speed data cable business. It was not unusual to find old homeless encampments, sometimes not so old ones as well, still in use. In total, there are some, I think 60 miles worth of underground lines, easy to get lost and stay hidden. While more and more reports were made of homeless disappearances and questions asked about the safety of the tunnels. Several of the more independent newspapers and TV news outlets started to pick up on the story, where the larger outlets mostly continued to ignore it.
Oh, lamestream media, am I right, boss? Always reporting on whatever the politics are and not the actual facts. You know what I'm saying? Where's the Cronkites? Where's the Brokers?
Anyway, it wasn't until a group of local college kids saw one of these reports and decided to investigate on their own that things started to be taken seriously. You see, 5 morons from the University of Illinois, Chicago, probably drunk frat guys, decided to grab flashlights and check out the tunnels for themselves. Reports said the teens were whooping and hollering, carrying on and harassing any of the local homeless they came across. Then all 5 went into the tunnels, but the next morning, only 4 came out. And those 4 immediately went to the police, saying they'd become separated from their friend while in the tunnels. Hours were spent retracing their steps, calling out for him and searching. Mind you, they're drunk. And once they began seeing sunlight coming through the manhole covers above, they decided they needed to get help. The missing drunk moron who was still stuck in the tunnels, well, he turned out to be the nephew of some assembly council person or other influential politician. So now local authorities had to take a look into it. Maps, or as accurate as they could find, of the underground systems were pulled from the old city archives. A team of about, 100 local and state police, along with utility city workers and transit authority workers, began the task of looking for the missing moron. After the first day, it was estimated they had only been able to search about, 5% of the total underground system. Debris from within or obstacles put up by squatters, it slows down their efforts. When anybody unauthorized was discovered, they had to be chased out or forcibly removed, which also slowed down the progress. And there's trash from decades, filth, many rooms, utility closets, not found on any of these maps. They were discovered upon removing this trash and had to be fully searched. And it became very clear just how easy it was to disappear down here, intended or otherwise.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Oh, hey, now, whatchamacallem, that Mr. Latin talk show fellow with the mustache, yeah? Ain't them the tunnels where they went poking around for old Al Capone's secret vault and all they dug up was a bunch of empty bottles and no treasure to show for it?
Shh! Let the man finish his story by you, Billy. It's just getting good now.
Ha! Well, excuse me, monsieur. I'm the baboon of old fire chiefs again, yeah? You cheating, smugging, and you know it, Sha.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, boss.
Shut it.
Yeah, boss. He still sucks donkey balls, though.
Anyway, the second day, word had really spread across the whole region, and they couldn't accept any volunteers due to the risks involved. So more firefighters and police and city workers were added to the search efforts. They were able to search faster and more effectively, allowing them to penetrate deeper and deeper into the underground system, which is when things got macabre.
Yeah, what's that, boss?
Morbid, gory.
Ah, right. Got it. The money shot.
So one of the... money shot?
What?
One of the search teams started finding dead animals. Some looked recently dead, others had been mummified, obviously had been there for many, many years. That's nothing unusual. Strays from the alleys or empty fields, most likely who wandered in. Others, in equally deep parts, said they saw what they swore were deer carcasses or even a horse. For they said the smell of the death and decay got stronger and stronger the more they proceeded. Well, day 2 becomes day 3, and by this point it was looking really bleak. The press were already guessing the worst, and what they'd find was going to be absolutely horrific. The general mood, as you can imagine, was pretty grim. Late morning of the 3rd day of the search, one of the team of utility workers and police discovered a tunnel not on any of the city maps. They said it looked like it had been dug by hand, and recently. It was about 5 feet high in some places and 2.5 to 3 feet wide. So they follow it for almost 20 feet and come to a large cave chamber. Other dug passageways were visible around the perimeter. Many, many others. But near one of the walls of the inner chamber, they saw their missing moron, curled into a fetal position, babbling to himself, and his hair had turned pure white. So the search team approaches him, and they find next to him a Swiss Army knife covered in goo. They put him on a stretcher that they had brought down there, secured him, and carried him out to the closest exit. The entire time that they were leaving, the team said they felt like they were being watched, almost like being herded or hunted, just a strange feeling. They find an entrance into a nearby subway utility tunnel, which was still occasionally used. They radioed in that they had found the chucklehead, and they had a repair trolley sent down the rail so they could evac him out.
So, they all made it out?
Yes, Mr. Kelly, they did. The kid was taken to a local hospital, where it only kept mumbling the same 2 words over and over again. Red eyes. It was determined that he had experienced something far beyond shock and trauma. He was sent to a special recovery center downstate in Evansville.
Well, what about that pocket knife, Marshal? Was the goo tested?
It was, Doctor. It was indeed. And that's where things get very strange. And then very suspicious. See, it's the early 90s, and chemical testing, as the doctor can attest to this, could take a while. So a week after everything was over, the results come back, and it wasn't goo. It was hemoglobin.
All right, so let me get this straight. Some hobgoblin went and tuned up the Chi-Town College kid? Fuck yeah. How you like them apples, huh? You Blackhawks rootin' deep dish lasagna calling it pizza punks? Eat that with a fork, you jagoffs.
No, Mr. Ferguson, what are you talking about? Hemoglobin is in red blood cells. It's what binds oxygen and brings it to tissues.
Hobgoblins! Oh, that is rich.
No, blood, gentlemen. Green blood, to be specific, with both human and reptile DNA in that sample. That was the strange part. Now, the suspicious part is that a few days after the rescue, in April of 92, there was an accident during repair work being done on the Kinsey Street Bridge. Crews damaged the ceiling of one of the tunnels under the river and flooded the entire abandoned tunnel system and sub-basements of the buildings all around. Any evidence of the attacks or some reptilian creature snatching people in downtown Chicago was completely washed away.
Oh, wow, Marshal. That was incredible. Way spookier than the National Forest monster from last year.
Very entertaining. Although I was hoping it was going to be a giant spider that was taking people.
Oh, shit, don't you go bringing up no spider royal critters living under the ground now. I met this fella once while I was visiting my cousin Jack, yeah? Lord, that man would talk and talk and talk about them evil spider queens planning to take over the whole dang world. A lot of strange folks down in my cousin's town, I'll tell you that much.
Okay, well then, time for the next storyteller. Dr. Lorenz, I think we'd love to hear what tales you may have.
Huh. Okay. My turn. A story. Ah, I think I may have one. All right. So this story is one that our professor of entomology at Rutgers told us while we were still fresh in the program. It was her way of blending some boring archaeology into the exciting field of bugs and insects. Okay, so the story takes place in Egypt, south of Luxor. It was where the Valley of the Kings sits, and many of the pharaohs were buried there. It's the city of Aswan, and it marked the southern border along the Nile River, separating Egypt from Nubia. And that's what would later become Sudan. Anyways, it was 1922, and the discovery of King Tutankhamun had just taken place a few months earlier. Egypt was in all the newspapers. Interest in Egyptology was exploding, and many countries sent requests to their local governments, hoping to conduct their own digging expeditions. One such expedition was granted to two competing nations, Germany and the United States. The site was 20 miles east of Aswan in the eastern desert. The area was said to contain the lost tomb of Pharaoh Menech II. Menech was a devout follower of the god Khepri, the scarab-faced god in the ancient Egyptian religions. Okay, so the tomb was rumored to be even larger than Tut's in KV5, with 5 times the riches and relics discovered by Carter and his team. The two expedition teams set off from Aswan, both locating what they believed were likely sites for the tomb, just a few hundred yards apart, each at the base of the rocky desert cliffs. Although each group wanted to conduct its own dig, the Department of Antiquities would only authorize a joint expedition. If the two nations wanted to explore, they were going to have to do it together. Thus, a tense and uneasy partnership was formed. Neither side trusted the other. After setting up camp and a few days of digging, the German group experienced the first of several mysterious incidents. One of the local laborers was crushed when a boulder from the cliff face above was dislodged and rolled down. It killed him instantly. Word of the accident quickly reached the American side of the camp, where their laborers claimed it was due to the curse of Khepri Menech II. A few nights later, during the evening meal, a local worker from the American camp was bitten multiple times by a cobra that had slithered into a sleeping bag. He died quickly, and over the next 2 weeks, each team suffered a series of strange, unexplained accidents. The local workers insisted it was the curse, warnings from the gods that outsiders should leave. It didn't take long before the Germans and Americans began to suspect each other of sabotage, each believing the other was using the curse as cover. By this point, many of the local laborers from both camps had fled in the middle of the night, terrified of becoming the next victim. With a quarter of the workforce gone and time ticking on their excavation permits, progress slowed. Both camps sent word back to Cairo requesting extensions. They cited unanticipated and unfortunate environmental factors. At the time, Aswan was still a remote, wonderfully unspoiled town, not yet overrun or influenced by Western culture like cities farther north. Although there was a telegraph service, a formal request such as this required the heads of each expedition to personally appear before the Department of Antiquities. It was still under French control at that time. It was led by the famously rigid Pierre Lecow, a stickler for protocol. The two leaders took a 3-day train ride to Cairo, arriving at the Egyptian Museum in Tahrir Square to make their case. Their petitions didn't fall entirely on deaf ears. At that time, Lecow was under pressure from international peers regarding Egyptian sovereignty and the fading era of colonial privilege, especially the controversial policy of partage. That was what allowed artifacts to be split between Egypt and the excavating country, so he agreed to delay his decision. He would send one of his own advisors, Gamal, back with them to inspect the site personally. Once Gamal submitted his report via telegraph, Lecow would decide whether or not to grant a 3-month extension. So the trio returned to Aswan by train. With no camels available at the time, they rented the only cargo truck the town had capable of navigating that desert terrain, and they started back for their dig site. And after a week away, they found the camp nearly deserted. Only 4 of the original 30 workers remained. The most recent exodus had occurred after a hidden passageway had been uncovered behind a large boulder, revealing a staircase that led down to a carved temple door. And above the door was the cartouche of King Khepri Menech II. Along the sides, etched into the stone, were ancient warnings in hieroglyphics. He who breaks this seal stirs that which should not rise. The breath of Ra will turn to sand in your lungs. Your name scattered beneath the feet of an endless swarm. Death will swallow him. Turn back. Let the gods sleep. When one of the Americans translated that warning aloud, the remaining workers panicked and fled. The German and American archaeologists agreed to finally cooperate fully. That night, with no laborers remaining, they would open the door together. After photographing the door for posterity, the team began chipping away, working to create an opening large enough to enter. And after a few hours, they made a hole just big enough for a man to squeeze through. One by one, the team climbed inside. The workers, what few were left, refused to follow. Lit only by lanterns and early flashlights, the explorers couldn't believe what they saw. The chamber was vast, expertly carved from the rock, with walls smooth and adorned with gold leaf hieroglyphics. Statues stood like silent sentries. Scrolls and papyri were neatly arranged on the stone shelves. The room extended far beyond their field of vision. One of the Germans called back to the camp for more lanterns and fuel so they could ignite the ancient torches embedded in the walls. And as the archaeologists examined the walls, one of them gasped. "Look!" he said, pointing at a line of glyphs. The others gathered. This wasn't just the tomb of Khepri Menek II. It was also his personal temple to the god Khepri. They had made a discovery larger, both in historical importance and physical size, than the temple of Ramses II. Compared to this, Tutankhamun's tomb was a broom closet. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream rang out from the camp above. The team rushed up the stairs. Near the entrance, Dr. Schmeidel, I don't think I said his name before. He was the man who had to go retrieve more fuel. Anyways, he had accidentally spilled some on his clothes. While stoking the cooking fires, the fumes ignited. Schmeidel collapsed to the sand, engulfed in flames, and he was already dead. The remaining archaeologists, now terrified with no laborers remaining, debated amongst themselves if the curse really did exist. One pointed to the far-off horizon, where a slow-moving sandstorm loomed. "The curse! The endless swarm!" Gamal, the advisor to Lakau, shouted. "Just as the inscription read, we will be scattered beneath the feet of an endless swarm, the breath of Ra putting sand in our lungs!" Seeing they still had an hour before the storm would reach them, the doctors decided to light the lanterns inside and take whatever photographs they could to give proof to Lakau for an extension. More men and a proper excavation after the storm passed. They would travel back to Ajwan, where Gamal would send word back of their discovery, and then travel back with the film as proof. The Germans and Americans retrieved the lights and fuel quickly and went about lighting up the interior of the temple. It was truly massive. Rooms and antechambers branched off from the main entryway and worship area. They wouldn't have the proper time to fully explore before the storm arrived. Taking as many photos as they could with their folding bellows and box cameras, along with the high-detailed cameras the Germans brought, they worked feverishly against the clock. The scientists and Gamal raced back to the truck, the sandstorm's huge presence now apparent. Little time remained. The team noticed one of the Americans wasn't with them. They raced back to the entrance, screaming for the man and pleading with him to hurry. As they peered through the hole, they saw their colleague, a backpack full of artifacts and gemstones, spilled out onto the floor, and he was covered with a swarm of scarabs. Standing over him was a towering form, 9 to 10 feet tall, wrapped in old, dirty linens and wearing a black mask. A mask that looked like a scarab face, feasting on the bloody leg of the missing scientist, the awakened god Khepri, with King Menek at his side. The men ran, jumping on the truck and fleeing as quickly as the truck would take them, the sandstorm on their backs the whole time. They made it back to the city and the hotel where they were staying at to ride out the storm. The telegraph lines were down due to the wind, so Gamal made an immediate reservation for the train leaving the next morning. Come morning, with the sandstorm now less intense and dissipating, Gamal headed back to Cairo, and the scientists waited until all was clear and the telegraph lines were repaired so they could call for help at the military station north in Luxor. But Gamal never made it to Cairo. During a stop, Gamal was robbed and killed by criminals, taking the film and everything else he had on him. The military showed up a few days later, and the scientists escorted them back to the dig site. Due to the sandstorm, the topography of the area had completely changed. Wherever the temple was, it had been reclaimed by the desert. The scientists were discredited as simply wanting attention after the King Tut discovery. Their story never believed, and the temple buried back under the sand. The scarab god Khepri returned to sleep after feasting, awaiting the next poor soul to disturb his slumber.
Whoa. That was seriously good. Excellent job, Dr. Lorenz.
My spine is literally tingling. Woo-wee, shit, that one got me sleeping with the lights on for true.
Aw, thank you all, but it obviously wasn't real. Scarabs are actually extremely docile, and they aren't carnivorous in the least.
Oh, that doesn't matter. These stories don't have to be real, just spooky. I think you did an awesome job, Doctor.
Aw, you're a very sweet person, Thomas. You can just call me Gemma.
Okay. Thank you.
Nerds.
Well then, Mr. Ferguson, why don't you show us up then? I picked you as the next storyteller.
Oh, yeah, fine. Buckle up, Toots, because I got one for you. It's both true and terrifying. And let me set the damn scene for you. Summer, 79, Camp, Clear Pond or whatever.
That name sounds mighty familiar there, Chief.
Oh yeah? That name sounds familiar, Swamp Boy? Maybe it's probably because somebody got friggin' whacked there, alright? Does that jog your memory, champ? Anyway, so, summer, 79. My ma, right? She marries this dirtbag from the bar. Boom. Now he's my stepdad. And let me tell you, guy's a total jag-off. So he ships me off to summer camp like I'm a busted TV that he don't want to pay for. I'm 13, I got zero craps to give, right? But this guy's got a flex, so he picks the worst camp in America.
Ah, Missouri.
No, I said America, New Top Cop. Even worse, New freaking Jersey. Yeah, I said it. Even back then their hockey team was a dumpster fire. We waxed them like 8-1 that year. But anyways, boom. So my punk ass gets put onto a bus heading down to the Pine Barrens. And that's South Jersey, okay? The lowest pit of hell. Satan's armpit, bro. No offense, demon, bruh.
Oh, I tuned everybody out after the Egypt story. Watching Verdict Impossible with the subtitles on.
So now I'm on the bus, and I'm sitting next to some kid heading to the same camp. He was an alright dude, I guess. Bit of a puss, but he was rocking this wicked-ass Black Sabbath shirt, so I gave him some respect. On the way down, he tells me how this camp we's going to is just being reopened. Now, it's been shut down for like decades because a bunch of camp counselors there were all too busy playing hide the baloney to watch the kids. Anyways, so this one poor schmuck goes for a night swim, boom, dead. Drowns while the teen horn dogs are playing tonsil hockey. These 60 hippie summer love teen counselors all get fired, the camp gets sued and whatnot. But this happened in New Jersey, so, who notices? You know what I'm saying? Okay, now we arrive, and I can't believe my friggin' eyes. This ain't no Jersey shithole that looks like a toxic dumping ground. This place was tight. Everything all new. All new cabins, all new boats, bows and arrows. They even had an Atari, baby. None of that in television BS crap that looks like your uncle's divorce settlement. But the best thing, the absolute best thing that made every dude's jaw hit the damn dirt as we get off the bus is the real prize. These girly counselors. Bruh. Every one of them looked like they just walked out of a Whitesnake video. I'm talking C-cups minimum, and shorts so tight and small you needed to shave before you put them on. And I ain't talking about the legs neither.
Oh, way to objectify women there, Fire Chief. Is he always this way? He's getting worse.
Hey, No, he never gets any better.
So we get off the bus, Ayo, says my bus buddy Sabbath. This is gonna be a bitchin' summer. Damn straight, bro, I says, and we get all settled and whatnot. So the first few fucking days, epic. We're outside, we're playing some Atari, we're eating burgers and watching the Red Sox just whoop up on the Yankees. I mean, it was friggin' paradise. And oh, little Fred is seeing more underboob than a Vegas pool party.
Off track, Mr. Ferguson. Just off track. Can you just please, like, you know?
Yeah, of course. I'm getting that. I'm setting the tone, okay? Keep your pants on. So a few nights after we get there, one of these counselors burst into our cabin. Hey, yo, you kids see that punk-ass kid Timmy? Kid what loves the Detroit Red Wings? And we're all like, nah, bro, the Red Wings suck harder than a vacuum with a grudge. Who cares about Timmy? Who cares about Chicago? You know what I'm saying? So he goes, yeah, true. Them clowns skate like my grandma on Ambien. But you guys keep rocking, okay? Then he dips. However, next morning, Timmy, boom, dead. Now, we're in the middle of the fucking Pine Barrens, right? Only thing around us is some monument to, like, Emilio Estevez's grandpa who did something to crash the plane, I don't know. Now, the two people that owns this joint are fossil relics who have a house nearby, and it's all only adults around. Anyway, the counselors all call us to give us the news. Now, the head dude, he comes in. His name Jonathan Knight, bro. He comes walking in looking like he knows everything except what a barber is, and he breaks it down step by step. Okay, yous guys. Now call it what you want, but that punk-ass Timmy, the kid what loves the Detroit Red Wings, yeah, he got all murdered. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, dudes. So then, Sabbath pipes up. Hey, yo, Counselor Jonathan, we appreciate yous hanging tough, but how'd that punk-ass Timmy, the kid what loves the Detroit Red Wings, eat it? I mean, was it like a machete or a farming implement? Because, you know, details matter. It'd make him less of a pussy if we knew how he died, right? Nah, bro, Jonathan says. Punk-ass Timmy, that kid who loves Detroit Red Wings, was killed with a freaking throwing star to the face and a sword through his heart. Okay, now, be honest here. That's the coolest thing that most of them kids ever heard, myself included at that time. Suddenly, Timmy wasn't no punk-ass no more. Timmy goes from fucking zero to hero like that. Dude died in the most fucking metal way possible. So now, me and Sabbath, we aren't from around here. We're Boston strong, baby. We both heard all them stories about Jersey, especially what happens to be in the Pine Barrens.
Ooh, the story of the Jackson Whites? The Black Dog? Blackbeard's treasure? Oh, the Pine Barrens have so many amazing...
No, Thomas, forget all the old wives' tale crap, man. Come on, Squirt. Everybody knows that the Jersey Pine Barrens is really known for an evil ninja. The evil ninja Justin Vortex. Yeah, and that's badass, because this ninja has a goalie mask and IBS.
Justin Vortex, an evil ninja who has questionable control of his bowels, lives in the dense forests of New Jersey in the late 70s. I can honestly say I did not see that coming.
Dude, boss. That's what I'm saying. That's what makes it so spooky. You never see a ninja coming. Man, that's why they're friggin' ninjas. Now, the fact that this one also smells like my Uncle Lenny after a big corned beef and cabbage meal, and you still ain't know he's around, now you know. That's how the term started. Silent but deadly. Any whatevers. Me and Sabbath, we're like, we gotta do something, because all these local chumps got no clue about no ninjas. So we start laying out our plan. What does a murderous ninja psycho killer want? What does a friggin' ninja hunger for? What is a ninja's motivation? You guessed it, boobies. Anyways, we hide, and we wait until later that night. Now, once they did the bed checks and all the whatnot, we sneak out and we take our position. Around 11 o'clock, two of the counselors, Lorenzo Lamas and this hot piece of ass, blonde Chrissy, go sneaking out of their cabins to go off giggling into the trees for some late-night Cinemax action. So we follow them, of course. And once they stop all the giggling and they get to second base, we get ready. Bows and arrows set. Red bandanas on. Face full of grease paint and muscles rippling in the moonlight, looking like shredded, bro, Rambo style. Soon as Chrissy's firm sweater puppies catch the moonlight, we know it's on. This ninja is baited, baby. Like them sirens in the ocean, what kill dudes in boats. how my Uncle Lenny bought it now that I'm thinking about it. Ninja Bation with baby oil.
Mr. Ferguson.
Right? But boy, they was firm. I mean, yeah. Now look, I gotta preface this, okay? They was teen boobs, but they're 018 teen boobs, so it's not pervy boobs, okay? So get that right out of your minds. Now these two counselors, they're going to town on each other. And then we hear a snap. And suddenly, boobs. Stab. Sabbath, you hear that? Boobs. Stab. I hear it, Fred. Lorenzo looks up and whack! Katana right across his tight mullet. Chrissy gets on her feet and she takes off. Now, she's running, but oddly, she's running like slow motion, like she's on Baywatch or something. Just ba-boom, ba-bang, ba-boom. Oh, the reverb. We get the arrows ready, and as soon as she strips, thwack, both me and Sabbath shoot Vortex in each of his eyes, like a friggin' boss fight. Sugar Tits Chrissy runs over. She gives us a huge topless hug, like we just saved the fucking planet. And she's like, "Oh, you Boston dudes are dreamboats. You saved my life and whatnot. Let's call the fuzz and later I'll give you a reward." Man, I can still smell the cocoa butter lotion and the Charlie perfume on her knockers. We was ready to head back and everything. But then... oh, this is not good, boys. Sabbath, right, my dude, he turns to look at me and Chrissy, and he has 3 poison ninja dots in his neck. Bro fell down like a sack of waffles. Yous leave me here. I'm done for. Like when a Frank falls through the grill slats on a barbecue when the kid brother didn't clean up after Mom already told him like a couple of 3 times. Fuck, I hate that turd burglar. Avenge me, Fred. Avenge me! So I gotta avenge my boy now. So I give Chrissy a firm smack on that tight turd cutter, and I told her yous go back to camp there, baby. In Ninja Land, just in Vortex is the law. But out here, I'm the law. And he best not be pushing me, because if he pushes me, I'm gonna give him a award that he cannot believe. So Chrissy starts running back, again, in slow motion. Ba-boom, ba-ba-bang, ba-ba-boom. I don't know. Must be a Jersey thing. Maybe Jersey ain't so bad. Anyways, like I was saying, so I lead Justin Vortex deeper into the forest. I mean, we go deep. Deep. I mean, deeper than Katrin when
Fred!
I don't mind hearing more.
So, there I am. I'm setting up like I'm friggin' John Rambo in First Blood Pine Barrens. I'm rubbing mud and grass and KY, just whatever, all over myself to blend in with the foliage. Looking like a lobster roll grinder and camo. Now, Ninja Jerk's chasing me, right? But I get a couple licks in. A couple punji sticks to the ankles like a Nam, but this guy's persistent, like a fly at a barbecue. It's friggin' cat and rat, man.
I think you mean...
Maybe just let him finish. We're starting to pass out over here.
So we go back and... oh, hey, that's what she said. Oh, so we go back and forth like a couple of drunks at the White Tower drive-thru, and Monster Ninja Dude traps my ass in a friggin' cave. All right, so now I'm crawling in this friggin' cave, y'all. I'm from Boston. We ain't got caves. I'm on my knees, my Zippo flames moving like I'm friggin' Indiana Fred over here. I'm searching for wind, daylight, or just someone to blame. And then I find this hole. And let me tell you, I am pissed. Like last beer in the cooler pissed. Especially when it's one that we bought from the friggin' Cumbies and your idiot cousin grabs it even though he knows that you fucking brought it to the party. He knows. So I set up the Mac Daddy of all traps. I find this huge log, like massive fall off the truck, huge log, and I hoist it up in the air. Took me a whole 8 minutes. I mean, probably had to be like 3 Aerosmith songs playing. Bruh, to even get that massive tree all lifted up like a 76 Chevy engine on chains. So the trap is set. I was the bait, both me and the stage was lit. Now I set the ground nearby on fire, and I held a torch in the air and gave the loudest war cry I knew that would get any Jersey dude's attention. Springsteen songs sounds like a drunk uncle yelling his resume over a harmonica. Friggin' A. Boom. Justin Vortex comes flying in like a pissed off Ninja Turtle. 2 throwing stars. fly right behind me into a tree. I go full Tarzan. I'm swinging on a vine like a hairy jungle badass. He throws another ninja star, and I shoot that ninja star out of midair with an arrow, and I knock that bitch out like I'm Robin friggin' Hood. Now I swing to another tree, and it makes him pivot, right? So he's got to move slightly over to where I've got this X on the ground, right in the money spot. Oh, I'm there, baby, all over your chest. I cut the rope, and the massive log swings. Bam! Catch him, and I'm right in the bread basket. Justin goes flying through the air and gets impaled on a tree that I just so happened to sharpen a little bit earlier. Stuck there, bleeding this like glowing green. It's like, weird ass like green goop glop looking like, them rave kids used to fucking play with them in the 90s. It looks like that, but that's just his blood, right? Friggin' disgusting. Anywho, I go over to him and he's rough, bro. Like drunk and passed out at the end of a Zeppelin concert rough. So I go up to him and I'm gonna be like decaffeinating him or whatnot. And this douchebag, he just starts laughing. He's got this wristwatch gizmo with these little Japanese doodads blinking on it. And suddenly it starts beeping like something's about to blow. And suddenly, I hear some spooky ass something's about to blow music in my friggin' soul. This jagoff was gonna nuke the place like a Denny's bathroom at 4 a.m. So I haul ass and I am running free like Iron Maiden, tearing through them woods. Suddenly from behind me, ka-friggin' boom! There's this super bright flash of light, and I get thrown off my feet. Then everything goes dark. 2 days later, I wake up in the hospital bed looking like burned cream and jello. Doc leans in, sees I'm awake, and yells, "Yo, yous guys, Pansy Boy's up!" And then bam! Who walks in but Chrissy, smelling like cocoa butter and wet dreams. She says I earned a sponge bath, and I'm like, yes, ma'am, I did earn a sponge bath. Next, friggin' Jonathan and Jordan, that's his brother, the camp counselors, they show up. And these camp counselors that work at Camp Clear Pond, they're saying, you got the right stuff, baby. And I'm like, you know what? Friggin' A, I do got the right stuff, baby. My boy Sabbath then comes through the door, and I'm like, what the fucking hell? Sabbath, you died, man. I saw you get taken down by ninja dots in the neck. And he's like, no, bro, metal never dies. It just switches to 7th string and keeps shredding. Hells yeah, bruh. Next. The doors swing open, the men in black come in. And who do I see? I shit you not. I see here walking in with movie star swagger. It's the friggin' president of the United States, Ronald friggin' Reagan. For real. And I'm like, yo, Mr. P, what's cracking? And he goes, well, I'm chilling like a villain, Freddy boy. You're the most badass motherfucker in the US of A. I'm giving you the Super American Freedom Kick-Ass Iron Eagle medal. I salute you, my man. And I told him straight up, right now, Mr. P, I'm going to be saluting the real stars and stripes, because this hot piece of tail Chrissy is about to give me a deluxe sponge bath, and I'm about to motorboat them in. You know what I'm saying? Do you guys know what I'm saying?
It was very colorful. Showed a lot of imagination.
Ain't never smelled no hog slop that bad in all my born days.
What does motorboat that mean?
Ooh, I got this one. Okay, Doc. You stand up and you whip them out. And
Mr. Ferguson?
Hey, she asked.
Sit down.
Right, boss.
Okay. Your choice. Mr. Thibodeau or Franklin?
Oh, this is an easy one. Young kid Cajun thinks he can outstory me? Psh, let him try to follow that.
All right, y'all, come set a spell. This here tale my grandma used to tell us youngins when we go visit her, yeah? Grandma, she one of them witchy-type ladies living off by herself down in South New Orleans. Way deep in the bayou. Little town of Delacroix, St. Bernard Parish, if you please.
Shut up, Fred.
Oh, I'm behaving.
Grandma's town share is cut off. Fog hanging low. Old-time Creole ways running deep. Folks talk soft, watching strangers with one eye shut. Now, my grandma's grandmama done passed her this tale. About a city boy from some uppity place full of fancy peacocks called, Boss Town, ma.
Gentlemen, can we not? Please?
May we? Don't say Landry ain't accommodating none. We'll call it New York City then, make everybody happy. Now, it's 1922, and this boy want to write about local color, about that old Cajun folklore going back to the Acadians, yeah? He want to do a piece about that voodoo. Young buck, 24, he catch a bus down, name's Hubert Pierce. He step off in Chalamet wearing a dandy suit, easy spot like a pelican at a crawfish boil. He rents himself a room right off Courthouse Square. The first week, he asking all kind of fool city boy questions about Cajuns and old practices. Every now and then, some quarter tourist wanders out, gets drunk, asks dumb Cayenne questions, so folks mostly stare, maybe give a friendly warning. Watch what you asking, Shay. Hubert, he thinks money talk. He finds one local fella down his luck. Lady done thrown him out for the third time this month. Hubert offers him $5 and all he can drink. Now, $5 in 1922? Hoo-wee! That's good as 100 today, Sha. Enough for a flop bed 3-4 nights instead of feeding them skeeters. The local starts telling him about the lady of the bayou, Madame Marie Lafleur. Folks say she a voodoo priestess what can stir up dark things. He say them strange going-ons the last 10 years. Folks missing, people taken sick, crops going sour. Now that's her curses, yeah? Keep your gree-gree handy in your barn. In your house, keep them bad tangs out. That's what Hubert come hunting. He don't believe none of it, ain't respecting the old ways, but he thinking, ho, I got me a story for the readers, mate. Name in his pocket, he goes to person asking about Madame Lafleur. Townfolk don't like speaking her name out loud. Ain't talk for outsiders. But one by one, and with a little bit of that langy-ap crossing palms, they start talking. Everybody got a story about strange ways down in the bayou. Hubert, he still ain't buying it. But even him, he start feeling something crawling in that hot midnight air. And after a while, he hears an old harvest moon ritual Marie calling spirits from the other side. 2 days off, they say. You know that boy's ears perked up.
Golly, this is really exciting. Oh, please, keep going.
Merci, mon ami. The city boy thinks he done hit pay dirt. He grabs writing paper, pen and pencil, gets himself ready for that harvest moon. Locals say Madame Lafleur lived way out. Man named Dufresne, he run a guide out near Delacroix, little place Rugio. Got a fishing lodge rent by the night. Cash up front and he'll drive you down and back to Chalamet come morning. Hubert say deal, and heads out that afternoon. Rugio's just a poke down old Highway 300. Back then it's dirt. About 2 hours on foot easy. Night falls, Hubert slips out the lodge and hoofs it to Delacroix. Sets up early, keep an eye on that old shack where Madame and hers live. Around 11:30, out she come. And lordy, what he see. He heard tales of a swamp witch stirring trouble for 40 years, but she looked 16. Little sliver of gal with a lace dress. Breeze could knock a cattywampus. He thinks, nah, that ain't no crone. But neighbors tottering home from drinking tip they hats. Bonjour, Madame Lafleur. Bonjour, Tante Marie. Bonjour, Madame. Tout tranquille de ce soir. Them old boys drunk as frogs in a rain barrel, but respectful weed. Near scared. One even calls her Tante. That's auntie. You save that for big respect. So yeah, he know he got the right lady. How a woman supposed to be 65 look like a debutante? That just make the story sweeter. He tails her careful through the road, through the field, into the bayou. She stop in a clearing ringed by cypress, Spanish moss hanging like torn curtains, moonlight slicing through. Madame Lafleur strips bare, stands center of the clearing, holding a silver dagger older than the trees. Bones laid in a pattern, low fog hiding her ankles. She starts chanting, Not English, not French, not Spanish, not Portuguese. Just other. He's scribbling, sketching, her dancing slow in the moonlight, hypnotic. And let me tell you, you ever tangle with a Bayou woman, woo! Cher, you best say your prayers and hold on with both them hands. You in for a ride.
Oh, man, I know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, no you don't, Fred. Hush up some now. Where was I? Right, Hubert. Hubert's feeling big and brave now. Want to call her bluff, prove all this is hooey. He stepped from the brush, and as soon as his foot touched inside that cypress ring, Marie's head snaps round. Air gets thick, dark, heavy like syrup. He tries another step, but something cold presses his chest. Shadows creep. Moss swings like curtains covering her modesty in black. He push again. That cold don't let go. Fingers like ice wrapped round his heart, squeezing tight, tight. The panic hits. He bolts, runs near 2 hours back to the cabin. While he running, whispers chasing. Eyes on the back of his head. Windows show reflections of a wrong-shaped Hubert. Twisted, outright. The spirits are watching. Waiting. He don't sleep. He light a fire. Every candle he can find. He sit in the corner till sunrise. Dufresne roll up. He ride back to Chalamet. But no, Shell, that ain't the end. Next day, town looked different. Faces hollow, voices turned sideways. He hears laughing, far off, but never far enough. Boy thinks he's losing his marbles. That night, after seeing all kind of odd things, he climbed them creaky stairs by candle glow, easing to his door. He got that key in hand. There go that laughing again. Now with a low snarl like a mean old yard dog. Sweat rolling down his brow. Blood turned thick as ice. Shadow slipped under the door crack. He swears it. And a cold breeze pushed him down that hall to that big wood door. He set that key. Slow turning. He reached for the knob. The door flies open. He stumbles back. Out steps this hideous-looking something crawling toward him.
Dr. Lorenz.
Evening, Lawrence.
Oh, please don't tell me you, a woman of learning, goes in for this type of jocularity and fireside tales.
Doc W, titty shitballs. I'm expensing my boxes after what you just did. Come on. Just glad I'm wearing some tonight.
Oh, Doctor, gee whiz, you gave us all a scare. Whew.
All due respect, Dr. Wainwright, today is supposed to be a holiday, and everybody has the day off, so I don't think it's appropriate to tell me how to spend it.
Oh, you are quite right, Doctor. I do not have the right to tell you how to spend your free time on June 21st, Midwinter's Day. Oh, would you look at the time? According to my watch, it is 1:34 a.m., June 22nd. The holiday ended 90 minutes ago.
Oh, no!
Oh, yes, Doctor. You were to have joined Dr. Jovac for research 30 minutes ago. I left Carlton in the lab with a ball attached by a string to a cup. He should be all right for another 20 minutes or so. But you need to be there with him, and now.
I am so sorry, Doctor. I just simply got engrossed in all of the...
I am not interested in where you were, just where you are going now.
Right. Thanks for the stories, everybody. I had fun.
Gemma, I'd be happy, would you like to meet for breakfast so I can tell you how the story ends?
Oh, I'd really like that, Thomas. Yes. Oh, that's so nice of you. I'll meet you there at 8 a.m., right after my shift is over.
Oh, that would be swell, yeah.
You little player, you. That a boy.
L'amore dans l'air.
Oh, shush! It's just breakfast, you two. Oh, she said yes?
See you in the morning, Thomas. Gentlemen.
Night,
Oui,
Doc.
chef.
Good night, Dr. Lorenz. Dr. Wainwright, since you are here, why don't you join us? Tell us a story you have. Oh, I certainly think not. I shall leave you all to your bucolic bard's tales. Sure, Doctor? We'd love to hear what you may have. U.S. Marshal, over the years, you and I have never gotten on well, so I... No, that was it.
By all means, retreat to your science, Doctor. The dead may whisper secrets, but even they know better than to compete with the sound of your condescension. I suppose the dead already find you a dreadful bore.
The Wainwrights have been accused of many things over the centuries. Embezzlement, tax evasion, influence peddling, insider trading, and the occasional dalliance into antitrust disagreements. But a Wainwright accused of being a bore? You, demon, you have thrown down the gauntlet, and I shall pick it up. I accept your challenge with... what's the term? With gusto. Well, here you go, Doctor. Take this chair. Okay, Mr. Thibodeau, go ahead and finish your fascinating story, and then we'll hear from Dr. Wainwright. I assure you all, if I yawn, it is only in anticipation.
Okay, then. Where I left off?
Oh, okay, so Hubert saw the voodoo ceremony, but was back in town and walking to his bedroom.
Right. Thanks, mommy. A monstrous shape lunges at him out the room. Bam, he wake up, soaked in sweat, still in his bed. Just a nightmare. But ever since that young gal danced in the bayou, he get nothing but night terrors and dead faces in every shadow, fingers reaching from the dark. The townsfolk, well, they know. Plain as day, he stepped where regular folks don't belong. They tell him straight he gonna stay sick till he go back to Delacour and ask Madame Marie Lafleur to forgive him. He gotta go see the lady of the bayou, else it only get worse. Ain't like he got a choice. He makes a deal for a ride back to the fishing lodge, spend a night, hope Madame take pity. Now he shuffled that dirt road, looking like death warmed over. It's dusk, frogs and crickets singing. Now he'd knock on that old shack door. "Please, Madame Lafleur, help me," he begged, stepping back hat to heart, trying to show respect. "I come apologize. I meant no harm." The door opened, there she is. Same young demoiselle as before, pretty as a picture. One look, and she knows spirits moving in him like renters who don't pay. "Please, madam," he says. "I can write your story, tell folks your power. They'll come, you could heal, make buku money. Just please lift this curse." She look a little thing, hair thick and curly, smell like jasmine, skin smooth as a river stone. But when she speak, that voice old as the cypress trees. "Hush now, child," said the little girl with that ancient voice. "You ain't did me no wrong." Hubert stand there, mouth open. "No, shed. Only wrong, you seen me how the bon Dieu done made me. For that, I oughta smack your mouth for not looking way. But what's holding you? That ain't me. That's them other side. They the ones you upset." Now, he's more confused than a possum in a washpot. He asks what she mean. "Ain't no curse," she says. "It's punishment for you stirring the balance between living and dead. You riled them. Only way they let you be is a sacrifice. Something that matters." It done gone full dark. Her eyes look past him deep brown, staring into the night like she see company out there. They want a sacrifice, monsieur. Something you love. Your fancy writing job. Your life. Or your soul. They say you choose. Now.
Okay, so? What the hell happened, Francois? Don't leave us hanging with blue ball ears. Finish it off.
I must say, I'm very glad I accepted this challenge.
That's it. Nobody knows, except Madame LaFleur, that boy Hubert, and them spears he made mad. You make a sacrifice bomb, but you go brag on it after? Well, then it ain't no sacrifice, eh? Needless to say, weren't no big voodoo expose in his paper. Matter of fact, nobody heard from Hubert again. Some say he quit his career, that's why he vanished. Others say, if you drive that lonely stretch late, you see a young man in an old-time suit, wrinkled, shuffling like the dead, wandering the bayou. And then there's folks like my grandma, still in Delacroix, across the road and down a piece from where Madam's shack still stands. She says them spirits wanted all three from him, as a lesson. Yeah, so remember, respect the old ways. Don't go poking your nose where it don't belong. Y'all must mind that share.
Impressive. I have to say, Mr. Thibodeau, you tell one hell of a good story. Blows mine away, no doubt.
That inning blew something all right. Gagging.
Well, that just leaves our esteemed guest and newest member of Jack's Night in his first...
Only
story he will ever tell during Jack's Night, Dr. Lawrence Emerson.
Can we please dispense with the pageantry and just let me regale you with the fable so we may all turn in for the evening, Mr. Kelly?
Sorry, Doctor. The floor is yours.
Very well. When I first was asked to journey to our fair station back in 2015 to improve upon, well, everything, honestly, I had a 2-week stay at McMurdo Research Station to attend a series of astrophysics seminars from my peers. It was January of the summer season, and for those who are interested in such trivialities, there was a rare occurrence of the powerful storm affecting the area, which resulted in extreme appearance of the Aurora Australis.
What's that, Doc?
Southern Lights.
Right. Green lights in the sky and all that. Thanks, Squirt.
Yes, Mr. Ferguson, the pretty lights in the sky. Although being the summer season, they were not as visible as they would be in the winter. It was to be an unusually long occurrence given how slowly the weather system was moving. Thus, with the strong winds and electromagnetic disturbance caused by the aurora, travel was restricted for 5 days.
Yeah, I done heard about them kind of snowstorms, yeah? That true they only roll in about once every 10 years or so? Give or take when the cold air and the Gulf winds get a dancing like a drunk couple at Mardi Gras.
Gentlemen, the good doctor doesn't like questions until after his presentation is done. Learned that the hard way myself. So, in deference to our guest, let's hold the questions until he is done. How thoughtful, Marshal Marlowe. Yes, it is a once-in-a-decade event. Now, we were relaxing with the evening meal inside the galley. They were playing scores by Mozart that evening, so the day was not totally without its merits. Of course, it would not last long as an ill-timed simpleton from the communications team burst in to notify the station leader they had received a mayday call. People ran to the observation center where they heard the distress signal coming through. The person submitting the mayday identified himself as Jonathan. He said there'd been a fire in the mechanical room of the vessel he was traveling on, and the captain had ordered all passengers to board the lifeboats and wait nearby in the event the damage control team could not contain the conflagration. That's a fire, Mr. Ferguson. Jonathan had been returning from a month in Scotland after a few days' stay in McMurdo, had boarded a small supply vessel called the Pole Stern, which makes runs around the coast to supply the stations, and so his group could tour their facilities. But while those in the lifeboats were waiting, the winds from the storm arrived, causing the lifeboat to begin drifting more than was anticipated. The ship's crew, now in addition to addressing the crisis on board, the fire, had a second crisis, lashing the lifeboats by tether to one another and the vessel. It was during the hectic scramble the lifeboat with the people on board drifted far away and back towards the shore. With the conditions on the sea, the storm, and waves, 2 of the 4 rescue boat occupants were swept overboard. While Jonathan and his remaining colleague did make it to the shoreline, he had become separated from him due to the heaving snow and ice drifts causing very low visibility. Jonathan traveled towards the direction of what he thought would be McMurdo Station. Instead, he found himself at the foot of Mount Erebus, looking at the entrance of a large cave at Erebus Tongue Glacier. He obviously went inside for shelter from the winds and the cold, and this is where he made his mayday call from. There were many ice caves in the area caused by thermal vents of the Erebus volcano, so for the moment, Jonathan was safe. Technicians from McMurdo began attempting to trace the origins of the signal. However, the signal clarity was being heavily distorted and fluctuated due to the ongoing magnetic storm, which was just concluding its first of 5 days it would be in the area. The station had sent out a team of 5 atmospheric scientists a week earlier, who had petitioned to bring shielded and sensitive equipment out to a point just 5 miles away from where Jonathan said he was. They had strong and sturdy tents for shelters and plenty of provisions to weather the 5-day storm. They were also close enough to try for a rescue, much closer than those in McMurdo. However, they were not answering their radio because the interference in the storm making communications impossible. And transmission to the ship and the sound couldn't be established either, most likely due to the damage from the fire and assuming she hadn't sunk. Transmission further than 20 miles seemed to be impossible, and the mayday call they were receiving was the extreme outmost range. Jonathan would call every hour or so with his situation, and with as much detail on the terrain outside the cave mouth he could discern. To keep his spirits up, they had him talk about his home, his time at McMurdo, what he was looking forward to, idle chit-chat honestly, but anything to keep morale up. The crew at McMurdo had a decision to make, and opinions were divided as to what should be done. Did they try to guide Jonathan to the camp they had just 5 miles away? Did they risk more lives and send a team from McMurdo out? Despite the storm and interference, or wait till the storm passes and hope that Jonathan is able to survive? After heated debate over many hours, a plan began to take hold. Rescue supplies and a team would be prepared. The electrical interference made it impossible to go by vehicle, though. The electrical systems inside these crafts were at extreme risk of shorting out and would strand the rescue team as well as Jonathan out there. Any attempt they made would have to be on foot. The weather was continually monitored, and the worst and most severe impacts of the storm would occur the following evening on day 3. The team would go out on day 4 with enough provisions to sustain and keep them warm until a wheeled rescue could be prepared 36 hours later. Over the next 2 days, many people took turns talking with Jonathan, keeping his spirits up and trying to distract him from the harsh conditions. There was worry about the remaining battery life, so as you can imagine, communications were limited to only 10 minutes every few hours. Jonathan had relayed that his pack had food and water for another day, and that could be rationed and stretched out. It was not a concern. What was of concern was a lack of heating fuel he had to keep him warm. That would not be able to be rationed. Cold and freezing would be what killed him if they didn't arrive in time. On the 4th day of the storms, the conditions, while not back to normal, had lessened significantly, and the rescue attempt was cleared to head out. The exact location of the cave Jonathan had taken shelter in was still being refined, but they had narrowed the area down. The plan was to arrive and deploy handheld air horns to have him direct the rescue team the rest of the way. It was 15 miles to the general area their technicians determined the calls were coming from. And I can only imagine what those men must have faced. Sub-zero temperatures, 40-mile-per-hour gusts of wind, near zero visibility, each hauling 40 to 50 pounds on their backs or on tow sleds, and the footing on rocky and icy terrain, making an altitude gain of 5,000 feet over the trek. Their stamina and endurance were Herculean, to say the least. Back at McMurdo, they kept communicating with Jonathan, talking, albeit it was getting more and more difficult. The rescue team would listen in, but they needed to focus on the route rather than the repartee. The stranded man was obviously now feeling the stress and fatigue, not just the cold. They said he'd start to ramble in communications with McMurdo, describing odd sensory input which simply could not be. Talking about how he could see people near a fire, and how he thought the others in his lifeboat must have made it out after all. He spoke of having visited a Munson Scott and the fun he had traveling back and forth. His situation was dire. His heating fuel had been completely spent. It was still 12 hours until rescue was estimated to arrive. The final transmission McMurdo received made no sense at all. He asked them to tell Dr. Lukasik that he had kept his promise. What? I am not finished yet, Marshal Marlowe. Honestly, must we every time? Excuse me. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. The rescue team arrived and frantically began sounding their horns. Time and again they would blast them and then move down the ridge, attempting once again. After the fourth such attempt, they saw a signal flare ignite up the ridge a bit further. They had found their man. Quickly approaching, they were shocked to see not one individual but 5. The research team McMurdo had sent out the week previous to gather data from the storm now overhead. The researchers said after the first night, their reinforced shelters they had were not enough to match the winds, which were almost double what had been expected. They had to gather what supplies they could and head back to a cave that they had scouted on the way back to the observation point. And they had decided if things had gone bad, and they had, that this would be their fallback point. And they were elated to see the rescue party had been sent out to collect them, but they were also mystified as to how they knew, as the Aurora Australis had made communications out impossible. The party told the rescuers how they had been talking to a man named Jonathan, and who had been in a lifeboat that had been washed ashore. They'd been talking with him for days now, and that they began to panic. If they had not found Jonathan, he was still out there and in critical need for help. The researchers all passed a look amongst themselves, like the wind had been knocked from their lungs. The rescue team demanded to know what the issue was. The researchers pointed to the rear of the cave that they had taken shelter in. Through a flashlight beam, they saw the petrified body of a man, obviously who had been there for quite a while. They said they'd found him dead when they had gotten there, and the poor soul had been there for 8 years. And although they were hesitant to do it, they checked his clothes and pockets to find out who he was. His name was Jonathan Westcott. He had scribbled such on a small note and shoved it into his pocket, saying who he was, where he was born, that he'd been attending the dedication ceremony of a Munson Scott back in 2008, but had fallen overboard from the Polistern on his way back home. At the bottom of this note he had written, "Couldn't make the meeting at Rothra, but it's safely out of their hands. I kept my promise to you, Stephen." Well, for obvious reasons, none of the researchers nor the rescue team wanted to include that bit in their official reports. Speaking to a man who had died 8 years earlier, how it was an otherworldly specter whose voice showed them the way to where the remaining people in danger as he had been. As far as the official records indicated, it was the research team that had radioed in. They were found, and 2 days later, all were returned safely to McMurdo. What really happened was obviously swept under the rug. And that poor soul Jonathan still resides in the rear of that cave. Now, his frigid tomb. And with that, gentlemen, I have answered your challenge. honor restored, and the demon put back in his figurative and, well, literal place, I bid you all an evening.
Well, now, I don't rightly see what all the fuss was about, no? Ain't none of them stories any better than mine, I'll tell you that. Huh. I'm heading back up on the bed, Cher. Let me know when y'all got something worth losing sleep over.
See ya, hell dude. Thanks for letting us run with the devil and whatnot.
Welcome back, Never.
Dip, I mean, Marshall, it has to be the guy who had the Nicola?
Shh. Not here. Not now. Let's all just get some sleep. I'll put the call out in the morning at the barn, 10 a.m. This is what we've been waiting for. Night, Franklin.
Good night, Franklin.
Yeah, whatever you guys need. Oh, object already, you moron! You passed the bar first time? My firm demonic ass you did!
Hi, Brian Bradley, your creator of 90 Degrees South. We made a promise from day one. No ads. No awkward breaks for mattresses, meal kits, or magic racers, just story. Start to finish. That choice lets us keep you fully immersed in the world of 90 Degrees South, but it's not without cost. Producing a show like this takes time, gear, coffee, and a lot more coffee. If you love what we're doing and want to help us keep doing it ad-free, consider joining our Patreon. We're here because of you, and with your help, we'll stay right here, edge of the world, commercial-free, ready to entertain. You can find our Patreon page at patreon.com. Search for 90 Degrees South. To close, as we always do, we do want to thank our Patreons who joined at the end credits tier.
Nick Wolf, Tatum Adams, Monica David, Thomas Reisky,
Rob Burrell, Michael Buckland,
Boucher Brothers, Sledhammer, Josu Quinton, Jesse Schiemenauer,
and L. Link.
Thank you for your sponsorship. It helps and supports us in so many ways.
This has been 90 Degrees South. On behalf of the cast and crew, I'd like to thank you for listening. If you liked the episode and are enjoying the series, please remember to give us a like, a share, a tweet, send a raven, or review on iTunes, Audioboom, or your favorite podcast site. It helps us to get the word out and keeps the cold at bay. Until next time.
This has been a BMB production.